Thanks for having us. We're going to have some fun. This is going to be interesting. You guys think you have a good seat on the front row, and you'll find out pretty soon. That's probably not the best seat in the house. But this is a project. This angel ornament. This was December 2012, and it was in Woodturner Design. Did you guys make this project when it was in Woodturner Design? Good.
I've got pieces laying around when I tried.
We're going to pass it, Kim, if you would, if you pass those out. I made copies for every one of the articles. I contacted the author, Larry Marley, and have his permission to do the demo and to duplicate his design. In here will be a template. We'll pass out a second sheet that has just the template. If you want to do this, I would recommend that you make a couple of copies of that sheet, cut one of them out, use adhesive, and put it on a hardboard or something to make yourself a good template. Make another one because you're going to need it as you mark it out and as you try to work on it. They are off-center turn, both sides on the wings and the halo, and in the bodies. The bodies, all the piercing that you see on the work that we brought with us, Kim actually does all the piercing. I do the turning, she does the piercing. I do it occasionally, but it doesn't look nearly as good as her. But it's much better when she does it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking. I'll try to just work through this, give you guys an idea of how this works, and we'll go from there. I am going to wear a face shield. I'll try to take it off when I'm talking. You guys can all hear me okay? Everything good? Okay.
I was going to say, I brought before these MDF round circles, I mean, and giving them away. I probably threw 5 of them away today. They're this big around.
Yeah.
Good quality MDF. And I can get them anytime. If anybody needs round MDF or something like this, let me know. I can bring some right anytime. Please do.
Yeah, they make great sanding discs.
Yeah, they do. They're excellent sanding discs. And you should use, whatever you use needs to be dead flat. Okay. So whatever it is, this works great. I just mounted this faceplate on and I leave it on there. I make these things for gifts this time of year. I've done it, this is the 3rd year now, and with the ornaments. Normally, during the year, I make bowls, vases, platters. I don't do a lot of, I spend the work. About time I figure it out, I stop. And I go do bowls again. So let's get started. I marked off a couple here. I'll show you how I mark these off. So this is it, again, out of the template. I just cut this out. I mark the center, and then I just freehand mark it. For all you engineers, that's going to drive you crazy. If you want to measure, you can measure. I just guess. And I just mark the lines here, and I'm just going to put a dot. Don't draw the line, or it will look like a test pattern when you put it on the lathe, and you won't know which one of those 800 lines that you're looking at you want to actually turn on. We'll draw the line after we put it on the lathe. Make the marks. There's 8 of them in this particular thing. So you can cut out one wing, you can draw, mark your center, mark yours, flip it over, do the other one. Don't cut out 2 of them and then not flip them over, then you end up with 2 lefts or 2 rights. So just mark one of them out, flip it over, do the other wing, you'll mark it out to 8. What I typically do is I'll mark that and then I'll mark the other side. Let me show you the other side. So this is what the other side looks like. Can you see it up here?
Yep, hold it steady. Got it.
Okay. So these lines, and again, there's no measuring. What we're going to do is we're going to be turning right off the point here, just like that, and we're going to be turning. So I just mark those freehand, eyeball it, measure if you wish. You know, I don't measure that precisely because I don't turn that precisely, so it's kind of a waste of my time. So I just mark them off with, you know, I hold up two of them together like this and kind of mark them off. And if it looks like they go on the same angel, we're happy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to turn one of these wings first. And again, I say try. These are affixed to this disc with double-sided tape. And they're turned off center. A lot of air, very little wood. So it's a little noisy perhaps in here. I don't know if it'll be noisy for you guys. But I'll just kind of go through it and we'll see how many of these we can get done. Just using standard double-sided tape. I'll try to do it up here so you guys can see it. when you put the tape on, just don't overlap it. You want this flat. So I usually put 2 pieces on and go from there.
Is that carpet tape from the hardware store?
No, it's just this is the Turner's tape.
Okay.
I had and I purchased these from the same vendor, and this has a lot more adhesion than this one does for whatever reason. But you'll see it comes off really easy, but it typically holds pretty well.
All right. The carpet tape is a little thick and spongy.
It's a little thicker. It's just Turner's tape.
Right.
You get it from any place you get Turner's.
Sure.
So I'm going to go ahead and put this on.
Dean, are you going to use the tailstock?
I will. Yeah, I'm going to center it up. I'm going to center this up. Okay, so I'm just going to press that on, double-sided tape, and this little trick here, just fold it down on itself, and then peel it off. That, ladies and gentlemen, is worth the price of admission. It only took me a year and a half to figure that out.
Share the secret.
I've tried everything. I almost gave up on making these things just to get the double-sided tape to separate. But I typically just fold it down. It's not important that I fold it down on itself. You'll see in just a moment. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just use the tailstock. I know that for this particular piece, this first dot, that's the center. That's where we're going to be turning on center. The rest of these are all off center. So I'm just using the tailstock just to center this on there initially, and then I'll move that around. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Those seats are looking worse by the minute, aren't they? Move this out of the way.
So orientation makes no difference as long as you get the center.
No, not really. No, because this is the center point, and when we're just turning lines. So, and as you can see, orientation really doesn't matter.
Can I yank this out? You need it
You
again.
can do that if you'd like. I'll leave it again. I can move it back and forth if you want me to. Makes it easier. Okay. I'm going to turn these grooves, and this is just an 1/8 inch harding tool. This was in a small tool set from, I guess that's Woodcraft. This is the only thing that this tool is any good for, as far as I can tell. But it's good for this. And the reason I'm using it is thin this way. So I could take a regular, anything. This is an 1/8 inch harding tool as well. I can do it either way. This works a little better on a tight radius. So I'm just using this tool for that reason. The other reason is that this bevel here this is about 3/8 inch wood. When I'm turning this, I'm watching the back of that bevel. That gets me about halfway, a little better than halfway through, which is where I want to be. Because this is really just a really time-consuming way to make lattice. That's all this is. So we want to get at least halfway through the wood, and that kind of gives me a visual. I tried to use other tools and draw lines. Sounds like a good idea. Put a black mark back there, but black mark gets covered up pretty quick when you're turning, so it's immediately covered up with sawdust. What happens? So let's see where we are. We'll just move this to tape. Okay. So after you get it on, this is when I want to draw the lines. Okay. So I'm just gonna put the lines on here so I have a visual when the lathe is turning. And you don't want to put these lines on beforehand unless you're just going to hit that dead center perfect, which is not likely to happen. So you'll want to draw the lines after you put it on the lathe. I hope the camera picks this up when it's turning so you can actually see. Even where I'm standing, when you get out here, there's so little wood, it's a very faint line, so I don't know how well it'll pick it up, but hopefully it'll pick it up here on the inside pretty well. Okay, let's give it a whirl, see how it goes.
And you, oh, never mind, I figured that.
And I'm going to try to turn this around 1300. I was turning this. I was at a John Campbell messing around one evening, and I cranked it up over 2,000. And
Tape's not good enough for that?
the tape didn't quite hold, and it flew quite a ways. So I backed off of that a little bit. But you need to turn it fast enough, obviously, to do the work. So see how this works. And I'm going to be in your way tonight.
You're fine. So I'll be in the way.
Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, that's the general idea. Okay. So now comes the tricky part. Now we get to turn it around and do the other side, and that'll create the lattice. So we've gone essentially halfway through, a little over halfway. Sometimes it breaks off. See a little piece here broken off, and then we're going to come in from the other side on a different pattern that's going to create the crisscross pattern.
Wow.
Okay.
Any woods you've tried that just don't hold up to that kind of tight turn?
You know, any closed grain, really tight grain wood works pretty well. This is cherry. Cherry turns really well. Maple does well. It's harder to work with. Some more porous woods, you know, like a walnut. I've had some work, and some just does not work well. I guess it's just too porous. It just depends on the wood a lot of times. And a lot of times, even with cherry or something, I've had pretty good luck with cherry, but even with the cherry, sometimes you'll get breakouts more than others. It just really depends.
You were just eyeballing your depth going for halfway there?
Yeah, what I was doing again, I was using the tool as a measure. So the back of this bevel, I know is about halfway through. So that's kind of what I'm watching for. I can't really see it that good sometimes because of the sawdust or the chips that cover it up. And sometimes I have to go back in and fill around there and get a little bit deeper. But that's one of the reasons I like to use this versus another tool, so I can actually get to that. This tape is not as good as some of the other tape I've had. Some of the other tape, you'll notice in Larry's write-up, he talks about using a chisel and lightly pressuring this off, and it'll break free pretty easily just with a little pressure. I could probably pull this tape off without having to do that. So it's not as good a tape as I've had in the past. So that's the front side, or it's actually the back side of the wing. And now we're going to go in and we're going to do this other side, and that's going to create the lattice effect. So same drill. We're going to come in and put the tape on.
Now on the front side, you do want to orient it a certain way, don't you? To have these circles.
It will. It'll still be oriented. That's the center.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You'll see when I put it on. That edge is going to be the center point. That's the part that's going to be. So however you put it on the disc, it doesn't matter. That's the center point. It should be, right?
You've got a lot less area to take the pipe now. A little trickier maybe?
Not really. It's an iffy proposition either way, because it's just tape. But I like to turn, I found I do better if I turn the backside first, and this, because this side's a little easier to turn than the backside. I have 8 grooves on the backside, and it's a lot more air. Then this is a little tighter area on this side, so I like to turn this side second. This works a little bit better. Done it both ways. I'm going to put this back up here so where center is.
So if you're doing a lot of them, do you ever pencil in the outline of the wing on the MDF so you can find it real quickly? Or do you always trust your center?
I just use the center to do it. That's a good idea, though. That'd probably be a lot
probably
faster.
Better off with your center.
That's probably a faster way to do
Well,
it.
you're gonna cover it with the tape.
Yeah, you see enough of it, I would imagine.
And again, whatever works for you. You know, when you do this, whatever works for you to hold it and get it up there. But essentially, that's the center point that I want to turn off of, or roughly the center point that I want to turn off of. I'm just using this just to sort of find that point, or get close to that point.
Going out. Just leave it in. The whole thing down.
Yeah, thank you. Give you a good workout tonight. And again, we're going to draw the lines. Now that we have it up on the way, we'll put our markers on here. Did the markers show up on the camera when you guys able to see that?
They did, yes.
So on the back, the center was up at the top of
And on the back, the center was here.
Yeah.
And this
No,
is the center.
is there.
Maybe it's
I
here.
messed up.
That's right.
I better write that down now.
Yeah, it should be in that those instructions that were passed around. It'll help you kind of orient all that. And if you after you cut them out and you hold them and you look at them for a few minutes, it helps you orient where you're going and where the centers are and what the rotation is and how it works. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do this side. Almost always when you do this, what's going to happen is you're going to end up with fuzzies in there and that sort of thing. I use the X-Acto knife and my very able-bodied assistant, wherever you're. There you are. My very able-bodied assistant to help me out. And I'll just clean it out with an X-Acto knife, sandpaper, that sort of thing. We'll get one of them cleaned out and we'll get it going around so you guys can see what this looks like, and we'll make another.
Now, can you tell when the groove on this side meets the groove on the other side?
You can typically feel it when you reach that point. Depends on how much of a death grip you have on it, but you can typically feel that.
I thought I heard a slight change.
You can hear it as well. Yeah, you can hear it when just when it goes through, and you can typically feel it right when it reaches that point. I think that's probably close enough. We can probably clean that up and send that around. You get that off, and we'll clean it up a little bit. See if we made it all the way to both sides.
Did you treat your disc with like polyurethane or lacquer to keep?
No, it's just plain. Yeah, I do occasionally. Occasionally, I'll clean it off just with some kind of cleaner just to get the dust off. Another reason that I probably made a terrible mess up at John Campbell was swinging it off of there is that we'd been there for 4 days or so, dust-filled room. This was laying out. It worked out so well, but let's see. Put a few of these out here. Make sure I make it through. Kim will clean that. You guys can kind of see what that looks like. I'm going to switch over and I'll come back and do a wing. Just want to make sure we have plenty of time to get through everything. I'm going to go ahead and do the halo, so you guys can see. Got the wings the same way. So nothing new there. On these, the disc. I think in the way Larry does it, and I've done it this way, is just to put this on here, in the center. Put this on here, square this around, and then make it round on here. I did that way for a while. It seemed like kind of a hassle to me to do that. What I do with these now is I cut them out close to round, and then I just jam chuck them against my chuck and my tailstock, and that's why that dimple's in there. And then I make them round with my bolt wrench. So you guys do it any way you want to do it. You can cut them round, sand them round. Doesn't matter. You can make them round on here. I don't like to do it that way anymore because it's just more of a hassle to do that. I make them round first, and then I come back and do this. I also have, let's see, I do four rings in the halo when we're on center, and that's the only place I deviate from what Larry does. I think he does 6, so I do 4 because I could, or he does 5. I do 4 because I couldn't fit 5 in there. So I don't think it really makes that much of a difference from the way that it looks when you finish. So, and this is the only piece we turn when we do this one. This will actually be on center, and then when we turn the other side, it'll be off center. And again, I've marked this, and you guys, again, I make the initial mark. All these marks I just make, just looking at it, and I'll make the first mark, and then I'll just look at it again and make the rest of them. After you do a few of them, you can just, I don't know if it makes that big a difference. I don't know if you have to be that precise. Let's get this up there. And I always use two pieces on all these on the double-sided tape. Just meet in the middle, don't overlap. Had pretty good luck.
Would you ever go to 2-inch wide tape?
You could certainly do that. I can't think of any reason why not.
Yeah, if you're going to buy tape, you can get 2-inch wide or 2-inch.
Yeah, actually, that's another point. This tape is, in my mind, is expensive. More expensive than it should be for what you get, but yeah, you could do that. That'd probably save you some time as well.
What's your trick on how to get the paper off the tape?
Just fold it down on itself in the corner, and then it just pops right off, just like that. I used to spend a ridiculous amount of time trying to get that stuff right. You don't need to fold much, just fold the corner. Yeah, just fold the corner down, and then the back just pops right off. And the corner, of course, stays down. That's definitely worth the price of admission if you make a bunch of these.
You mind if I grab that?
What's that?
Can I grab that now?
Yeah.
snakes in the house.
Draw your lines after you get it on here.
Better behave.
If you were doing it the way Larry, this would just be a square piece, and you draw a line out here and just part it off. You part straight into your backing. It's kind of an irritant too, because when you part into it, you're also parting into this tape, which is somewhat irritating. So I think it's a lot faster just to either cut them, sand them, whatever your kind of equipment you have that'll make that work for you. Okay.
Bunch of these, if you found just maybe doing all circles, do 6 circles, and do the chicken wings.
It's usually better to do that. Kind of get into a rhythm and can work through them a lot faster that way. That's too much like production work if you do that. I think I'll stop there. Okay, we'll do the same thing. We'll flip it around, and then we'll do the other side where it's off center. This is the only one when you're in tight here where this really small tool helps. When you're in a tight radius, having this narrow tool, 1/8" narrow tool, but you can make your own tool. You can make it out of anything you want to make it out of, just so it's small enough to work and get into that groove. But this is where it gets a little tight right in this center spot right here. If you do have really good tape and you need to pry that off, didn't even get it out. I usually just use a chisel or something and just gently do it. Don't crank on it because it's going to break, especially when you're doing the second side. Just give it a little pressure, and eventually that tape will just let go. Get this other side.
Ever reuse the tape?
No. I'm amazed it holds the first time. I don't want to take a chance on the second.
Voice of experience?
No, I never tried it, but most of the other stuff I do is larger stuff, and I spend all this time with these, chucking and making sure everything's just right, and then I go put stuff on there with double-sided tape, and it just doesn't seem. Something almost wrong about it when you do that. Thank you.
Yep.
And this first dot that I have on here is going to be our center point on this side. So this is the side we did. This is the side we're doing this time. Let me get this going around. This is one I made. It's really crooked. When I drilled the hole, I'll show you that in a bit. Made this Sunday afternoon just so I could pass it around you guys and kind of see what this looks like more up close. Maybe it would help. finish, this center part here will be where the dowel goes and where it will actually attach to the back of the thing. Okay. I think I made it through. Sure. A little bit more. Did you get the other one passed around? The other. Okay, going around. Okay. Okay, we'll clean this one up. We'll get this one going around. You guys break at 8?
Yep.
You say 8? 8 o'clock. Okay. All right. What I'll do is I'll get started here. I'm going to go ahead and do another. Actually, I'll do another one of these. I'm going to do another one of these wings real quick, and then I'll do the body after your break.
Bright future, mate.
I'm working on it, you know? You gotta take your volunteer duty seriously. Yeah, that's right. Mine's going to seems like a better compared to what I'm on my rate, so I can read mine. Pretty good. Very good. You want to buy mine? I'll buy it anyway.
Okay. Do one more here. Okay, that's one side. See if I can do another side in 5 minutes. You need to come over to my house.
I was waiting for you to say it.
I need some help.
I think they call that an apprentice.
I've done my apprenticeship. You see how well I picked that tailstock up?
Doesn't seem as bad. It doesn't seem as heavy as that Powermatic. Whoops.
Thank you. You let your clients see you put it on the floor like that?
What's that?
You let the clients see that? Put it on the floor? That doesn't matter.
It's not a kitchen.
It's not a kitchen.
Let's see what we can do here. Now I don't want to drop it. Start over with the tape.
That's my cue.
It's cute. It's all yours. Okay. clean that one up, and it'll look just like the other one, I hope, or close to it anyway. Okay. I'll go through the steps for making this. I had a couple of questions about some of the bodies that we made up here. The pierce bodies, all the pierce pieces are turned 1/8 of an inch or less, so that they can be pierced. They're all pierced with a dental drill. I think it's NSK Presto, I think it's the dental drill we're using to do the piercing. And this one in the front here is turned thicker, obviously, and then I just used a rotary carver, and then I textured it a little bit, and then I burned it with a butane torch to give it the surface treatment on the top. And the others are have a little texturing around the top and around the neck area of the angel, and it's just a rotary tool with a diamond burr, and I'm just tapping it, going all the way around. Creates enough texture there so that when you put a finish on it, you get light coming off of it different angles, and it gives it a nice effect. It's also nice across the top, because I just sand a little bit and then I texture, and you never know that I just took it off the lathe, just cleaned up the mess, and I didn't have to clean it up anymore. So I hate doing this in front of Alan. It's such a good spindle turner. I'm not a spindle turner, so.
Hello. Question.
Yes.
Does grain direction make any difference when you do this?
I haven't found that it really does. I haven't noticed. I just go everywhere. It may that you're going in so many different directions. I have found that it really makes a big difference. I'm going to just make this round. I'm going to use the small scooches will do it. And I'm going to do it with just a peeling cut. And I'm going to do it a little bit at a time. The only thing I would caution is if you do this, I do it all the time to any kind of spindle work I do it a little bit at a time. Because like anything else, if I took off a big chunk of this at one time, I can cause this to splinter. And just do it a little bit at a time, and it should be fine. We'll see how it goes.
We're all locked up good there.
Let's see where ours goes. Fastest way I know to get the round. I did this at John Campbell, and then I turned around and somebody had about a 6-inch block and they were going to do it. Don't do that. Do it, something small that's spindle, fastest way to do it. That's it really works like a joint. And it doesn't, I don't know if you can tell, you can't obviously tell what I'm feeling, but that is the smoothest way to rough something that's small. It really is. It's a roughing, you can do it with anything. You can use roughing house to do it, but if you kind of bang around, you don't bang around when you do it that way. Get you there in a hurry.
Do you use a wheel to sharpen that skew, or do you have other sharpening methods?
What's that? Sharpening?
Yep.
No, just sharpen it on the grinder, and
right.
Same. Yeah, you just on the platform, and it's a little trickier to sharpen because of the shape of the skew. So you're having to when you're sharpening, I'm sharpening here, and I'm having to rotate, and in order to get a good consistent bevel, it takes a little practice to do, but it's not hard by any means. All right, let's take this down just a little bit. And what I do is I typically just use my little sheet here. And this is essentially what I'm I'm going to do, and it's the same, basically the same dimensions in there. And I'm just looking for a few key dimensions. I'm going to go 1 3/4 on the end. I'm going to put a tenon over here, and we'll put a chuck back on here, and then I'll make a couple of marks on here where I want to start working. Now, if I'm going to do something really thin like this, the way that I would do that is I would go ahead and turn the bottom portion of this angel like I want it on the outside, and then I would put it in a chuck, and then I would actually use a steady rest to give some support because I'm down to a pretty small area there, and then I would hollow it out from the inside down to maybe 1 inch or so. If I'm going to do what I'm going to do tonight, where I really don't care, I'm just going to take a little bit of the weight out. I'll do that first because I want to do it with as much mass as I can on this end because I'm just going to be holding it with a chuck, and then I'll do the outside, but it's not important because it's not going to be very thin. Okay. So let me take this down just a little bit in a couple places here, and then we'll go from there. Lines on here where I want to be. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put it in a chuck. I'm going to take a little bit of the weight out over here on this end. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, and then we'll go ahead and work on the body just a little bit.
While you're setting that up, tell me what the blue lines represents. The first
Okay,
one is the top of the skirt.
Okay, yeah, this is basically the neck area. This is the head, and this is the skirt. Okay.
It's on the ground.
Where is it?
Chuck, right there in front of your foot.
No, I don't need to check it.
Knockout bar, sticking out, right here.
There we go. Okay. I turn on a Powermatic, so 1 1/4 8. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of weight out of this other end, just enough to get a cone in here, just to give us some support, and then I'll turn the rest of this. I'm going to do this in another way, which is probably going to look strange for everybody. I'm going to use the spindle gouge. And I'm just going up. It's, you guys may have seen like a Richard Raffin do like a back hollowing cut. He goes in and goes this way. I'm just going to go in, and I'm just going to come this way. Gives me a little more support. I'm just going to use this and just hollow out just a little bit of this, and then we'll go from there. Just take this down a little bit. a lot of this out so we can finish this up. Okay, I'll stop there and get something so I can get some support on this side, and then we'll go from there and we'll finish up this part here. That's the important part.
Have any of y'all ever seen a JP Industries down and away tailstock manager?
Where was it? Where was there? We had a tailstock manager. I remember it. There you go.
The tailstock manager mounts under the back of the lathe, and with the one way, the tailstock is so heavy, you just slide it onto the attachment, and it pivots down out of the way. And when I was working with a small jet, it wasn't a problem, but with the one way, lifting that tailstock on and off is no fun.
It's called exercise. Good for it.
The robot lathe has an attachment.
The robot lathe?
Robots.
Okay.
They have one out there. They're big lathe.
It may be made by JP.
I like
What few wood chips?
Probably made by WGNC Demo. Sounds like the same company.
Yeah.
He makes one for biomedical.
Yeah.
You have reached Mike Mahoney status. You got people that clean your stuff, stand.
Just going to clean up this edge a little bit, and then we'll go from there. Give you a general idea anyway. So I'm going to take this down up here to about 3/4 of an inch, and then we'll take this head portion down a little bit as well. I'm going to go ahead and take this down about 3/4. We'll clean this up a little bit, and we'll come back and get the rest of it. This is that precise measurement I always do. Okay, so this will be the body, this is going to be the neck, and this is going to be the head. I'll take that head down just a little bit. Down to about 1 1/4 or so. Ballpark anyway. going to do some of this with a skew. I do find, and you can do it with a spindle gouge, you can do it any way you want to do it. I do find with the skew, I'm not very good with it, I don't use it that often, but I do find that if I do this, I get a better curve, a more continuous curve using the skew than I would if I were using spindle work. I don't do a lot of spindle work, so that's probably the reason. So let's give this a whirl, see how we do. Where you're going to put your drill your hole for the two wings. It's in this area. What you could do, if you were doing a lot of these, you could pre-drill this. You put it on a drill press or something. You know you're going to drill in the center, and you know roughly where you're going to put the hole. You can put pre-drill that rather than doing it on the lathe, which is why my angles have wings that are going off in different directions, because I drill the hole here. But if you were to be more precise about it, you can drill it separately. I usually just, I won't go through it tonight in the interest of time, but I'll just hold it here, and then I'm just going to drill straight through. And I go all the way through rather than a hole on this side, hole on the other side. I just drill all the way through, 1/8" hole, roughly in this area of the neck, right here. Okay. So that's the general idea there. I'm going to go ahead and finish some of this up and then finish up this neck, and then we'll go from there. After I get a head that's a little rounder than that, typically, what I'll do is come in here, and then I'll just finish this up with a spindle gouge to smooth this in, give it more of a contour of however you want your neck to look. I would recommend when you do these, the first few I did looked like an alien, because I didn't do a very good job of getting it down to begin with. So get it somewhere close to where you think it's going to be round. It looks a little better in my mind than someone that looks like an ET or something, an ET angel. So I'm going to go through a little bit of work here, then I'll take it off over here. I'm not going to mess too much with this over here in the interest of time, and we'll go from there. I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a mark here, just a 3-point tool. What I will typically do again is I'm going to texture this portion of the neck. So what I'll just typically do is make a line sort of separate the texture from the rest. Something along those lines. And I'll do the same thing typically on the top of the head. I'll turn this down just a little bit, but what I'll typically do is make a similar sort of mark on the top of the head because I'm going to texture that portion of the head that just separates that from the remainder. So I'm going to go ahead and take this down a little bit and then just part this off just to give you a general idea. But that's essentially all there really is to making the body, unless you want to make them thicker and then do some carving afterwards, or make them thinner. And you can take your hand, try your hand at a piercing or something of that nature. Burning, you can do pyrography. We've done some with pyrography. Kim has done some with a basket weave type of pyrography around the bottom. We've done some where all we did is drill small holes along the bottom, and it created a lace-like effect along the bottom. Just simple things you can do that aren't very difficult to do at all. So I'm going to go ahead and just take this off, finish taking this off, just so I can say I did. Looking at that. But that's, any questions about any of this portion of this is very basic turning here. This is the less interesting part of the demo than the wings. Any questions on any of this? Any of you guys? Another advantage of using the skew with the part this off, one, it's not going to tear out in that. Second is just the nature of using the skew. You'll notice that the head remains somewhat round at the top as opposed to just parting it off and taking care of it there. So another reason for doing that. But what I'll typically do here again is at the separation line, as I'll come in, I'll just put another mark there, and I'm going to texture the top of that head anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to part this off, and I'm just going to take a sanding disc, sand it, and then texture the top. So I'm just going to part this off and catch it.
Ready, Mary?
Ready to catch this, somebody? And then what I'm typically going to do is just sand this. I use a rotary sander, rotary sander, sand that off. Of course, I would have sanded this. I don't want to sand anything here. And I'll texture this portion, I'll texture this portion, and then I'll have a body. And I'll have holes here. And then after I take it off the lathe, I'll put one more hole in the back of the head, just eyeball in the center, wherever I put the wings, in the back of the head for the dowel to go in. We'll talk a little bit about drilling these parts. Now I drill these, and I think that the article may say actually drill them before you turn them. I've tried it both ways, and with about the same failure rates. You know, you're going to put a hole in it, you're going to turn it, that's going to give the place to break. You're going to turn it, and then you're going to put a hole in it. And you know how drill bits do; they don't always go where they're pointed, and they're working with very little wood here. So what I do is I do them on a drill press, and I'll have a support here, and I'll have a clamp against a piece of wood, and then I just find my spot and I drill them. I use 1/8" dowels. I'm thinking about going to something that's smaller, a metal, brass, something so I can drill a smaller hole. 1/8", this is 3/8" stock roughly that I'm using here, and 1/8". It's going a little sideways, and it's really frustrating, especially when they actually come out. You're trying to drill them together. But everything I have up here is 1/8" dowels. 1/8" dowels aren't always 1/8". Often they're not. So check that out. What I do is I typically get them when they're too large, and I just use an X-Acto, and I'll just shave a little off, make them fit. Bamboo, and I think that's actually what he recommends is the bamboo skews is what he uses. But I had a bunch of 1/8" dowels. That's what I ended up using. But so you'll end up with a hole here on each one of the wings, on the halo make back around, but you'll have. Oh, here we go. So you'll have a hole here, and then you'll have for the halo, the hole will be right in the center. This little dowel goes in the head, and the two on the two wings go on. And you have an angel to give to someone for Christmas, or to put on your own Christmas tree. Any questions?